Here's a weird question. Why do humans wear clothes? Every single morning, billions of people get dressed. But why did we start in the first place? Other animals don't do it. Elephants don't own wardrobes. Wolves don't pick outfits. But humans? We literally arrest people for not wearing clothes. To understand this, we need to go back, way back, about 170,000 years ago, to our ancestors living in Africa. Back then, the climate was brutal. Intense heat, blazing sun, no shade. Our ancestors were basically walking around completely exposed. Here's something wild. Humans lost most of their fur because we needed to run. Long-distance hunting in the heat meant fur became a liability. A thick fur coat while sprinting across the savanna, you'd overheat and collapse. Evolution said no, and slowly we went nearly hairless. Instead, we evolved something better, up to 4 million sweat glands. We became world-class cooling machines. Seriously, no other large animal sweats like us. But losing fur created a new problem. When temperatures dropped, or when humans migrated to colder regions, there was nothing keeping us warm. So at some point, a clever ancestor grabbed an animal skin and thought, what if I just wear this? And something important began. Here's where it gets interesting. Evidence suggests clothing appeared long before humans left Africa, so cold weather wasn't the original reason. Modern humans didn't migrate out of Africa in large numbers until about 70,000 years ago, but clothes appeared up to 170,000 years ago. Something else is going on. The clue came from the most unexpected place imaginable. Scientists decided to study the evolutionary history of human lice. Yes, really. Humans have two types of lice. Head lice, which live in hair, and body lice, which live specifically in clothing fabric. Body lice split from head lice between 83,000 and 170,000 years ago. That split only happens when there's clothing to live in. The lice are our timestamp. Think about that. A tiny parasite accidentally preserved the earliest evidence of human fashion. The lice knew we got dressed before we did. So, if not cold weather, why did we first put something on? Theory 1, basic protection, tall grass, thorns, rocks, biting insects. A simple wrap reduced injuries. A piece of hide between your skin and the environment reduced cuts, infection, sunburn. It's not glamorous, but it was genuinely useful. But theory 2 is far more interesting. Humans are obsessed with social status. We are constantly signaling who we are and where we rank. Wearing a different kind of hide, in a particular way, said something powerful to everyone around you. That's not just survival, that's communication. We know our ancestors used ochre, a red pigment, to paint their bodies as far back as 200,000 years ago. We were decorating ourselves before we were dressing ourselves. The jump from body paint to wearing a specific hide in a specific way is actually a very small cognitive step. Fashion has ancient roots. Early clothing was rough, a hide draped over the shoulder, tied with sinew. Functional? Yes. Stylish? Not quite, but it was a start. Then around 50,000 years ago, something changed. Researchers started finding bone needles, tiny with actual eyes bored through them for threading. This was a massive leap. Someone looked at a sliver of bird bone, imagined a tool that didn't exist yet, and built it. That's engineering. Now, clothing could be fitted to the body, sewn, shaped, sealed at the wrists and neck. Not just draped, but designed. The oldest confirmed bone needle with an eye was found in Denisova Cave, Siberia, dating back about 50,000 years. One tiny object changed everything. In freezing Siberia, properly fitted clothing wasn't a fashion choice. It was the difference between surviving the winter and not surviving it. And here's what often gets left out. Neanderthals were also making clothes long before they ever met us. This wasn't a modern human invention. We found evidence of Neanderthals carefully scraping hides, using specialized tools for leatherwork, and processing animal skins with real skill. In fact, 3 separate human species, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans, all independently arrived at the idea of wearing clothes. Which raises a wild question. Is clothing inevitable? Would any intelligent, social, cold enough species eventually figure this out? Because here's the truly strange part. If clothes were purely practical, every culture would just wear the most efficient thing and stop there. But they didn't. In every civilization ever recorded, clothing carries meaning. Priests wore different things than warriors. Rulers wore things others couldn't. Some of the oldest textile fragments ever found were already dyed in multiple colors. Someone looked at a functional cloth and thought, this needs to be prettier. Clothing became a language. What you wear tells people who you are, what group you belong to, and how you want to be seen. When glacial cycles hit between 120,000 and 70,000 years ago, temperatures collapsed. Now clothing went from useful to absolutely critical. The human population may have crashed to as few as 10,000 to 30,000 individuals. We nearly went extinct. We were that close. The groups with better clothing technology survived. Fitted, layered, stitched garments that sealed heat against the body. That was the survival advantage. Those survivors had children who inherited the skill, and that knowledge, how to prepare hide, how to stitch, how to layer, carried forward across generations. Around 30,000 years ago, humans in Georgia discovered twisted plant fibers, already dyed in multiple colors, already decorative, already intentional. Then came weaving. Spinning plant fiber into thread, then fabric. A completely new material made entirely from scratch. Textile technology was born. Now clothing could be specialized. A heavy cloak for winter, a light wrap for summer, a ceremonial robe for ritual, a wardrobe and not just a garment. Textiles became one of the most powerful economic forces in the ancient world. Trade routes were built around them, empires were funded by them. Silk alone reshaped the political geography of half the ancient world. All of this from an ancestor wrapping themselves in an animal hide. So why did early humans start wearing clothes? The honest answer is all of the reasons. Protection first, status second, survival third, identity always. Clothing gave us a way to construct and broadcast who we are. Every outfit is a statement, even when you think you're not making one. From a group of early humans huddled around a fire in ochre-stained hides to every culture that came after, the impulse to dress was deeply, fundamentally human. It was protection, warmth, status, identity, and culture, all woven into a single piece of fabric. That's what clothes actually are. And the thread connecting you to that person on the African savanna 170,000 years ago. The simple fact that you got dressed this morning, that's not a small thing. That's 170,000 years of human history still running. If you found this interesting, like, share, and we'll see you in the next one.